Be honest. How did you lose your weight? Depression. Well, I feel this lost at least 10-15 lbs over the last month after a long-term breakup. Ick if y'all get knots in her stomach from stress ever or lose her appetite because hers is sad, but as shitty as it is, it definitely helps with weight loss as you won't even want to think about food. Mine's gone both ways. Bad relationship depression is a food-free adventure. Lost weight, but not in a fit, healthy way. I'm currently in lonely and bored depression, and it's a food-free for all. Stretch pants can only stretch so far. Intermittent fasting and quitting drinking. I was once 125s before ever touching beer, and then after turning into a heavy alcoholic drinking 10-24 packs of beer every single day. I landed myself at 200 very quickly. My face was fat, beer belly, man boobs, fatty liver. Clothing sizes went up. Thankfully, the pandemic hit. I stopped hanging out with alcoholic friends, stopped drinking. I got a warehouse job. Lost all that beer weight within half to a full year. I was down to 148 kills. I went down clothing jean sizes by a lot. Face was slimmer than ever. Didn't eat. It was and still is a huge problem for me. But thankfully, I'm back to a healthy weight now. It's a lifelong struggle, but glad you're healthy now. Many people here say, keto. The long-term sustainability of it is a huge topic of discussion. Simple answer. What works for me may not work for you. Each person is different. For me, carnivore did it. It works great for my body. Each diet has its benefits and drawbacks. There is no one size fits all when it comes to nutrition and weight loss, which is why nutrition is such a complex science where people argue strongly about. Humans have survived and thrived on a variety of diets, ranging from highly plant-based to highly animal-based, never 100% vegan. For me, carnivore works better than keto because I have an autoimmune condition that gets exacerbated when I eat specific plant. Carnivore eliminates that factor completely. Plus, it allows me to fast for prolonged periods. Animal foods are extremely bioavailable, so you can eat them less frequently with no issues. They also take longer to digest. Carnivore is higher in protein than keto and supports muscle growth better. People with IBS-D, especially IBS-D, also do better on carnivore rather than keto. Carnivore diet for beginners. Bud George. Kelly you is a nice read on the topic. I've done strict keto several times, most recently started last March and did it for about 6 months. Now I just follow more of an 80-20 rule. 80s of the time I continue low-carb eating and 20 the time I eat what I want. Not only is this sustainable for me, but I've lost about 55 obs and am still losing just a bit slower. I totally agree with the phrase, what works for me may not work for you. For me, this is something I can sustain while still enjoying life. Cutting down on carbs and sugar just makes me less hungry in general, able to keep calorie count lower. Air fryer, freezer, food scale, never eaten out, minimal processed foods, minimal carbs, actually eating the serving size, calorie optimizing. Which foods are most filling for the calories? Lots of protein and vet. Yes, lots of protein and good fats. Simple, eat less calories. I lost 30 pounds without exercising. I just ate less. Cutting portion sizes and eating healthier food was huge for me. I also don't count calories or anything, but I do keep my own food log to keep track of everything I eat or drink, besides water. I feel like it gives me personal accountability, and as much as I want that cookie, it makes me feel a little guilty writing it down on my log. Seems like you have a good system. However, since you're already doing most of the work, there are lots of free apps where you can log your food and it'll count the calories for you. I use my fitness pal, free version. I think what has always drawn me away from this is then I would feel like I need to measure everything out for portions. Otherwise, I get that guilty feeling if it's more or less. Right now, I can just write grilled chicken, broccoli, couscous for my meal and not worry about the count. I've considered using an app too in the past though, so perhaps I'll check this one out. Thanks for the suggestion. It does get that way if you're obsessive like me, and some of the units are exceedingly annoying to calculate. I had 20 tortilla chips and now the app wants me to log how many 3 ounces of tortilla chips I ate. Yeah, strict counting of calories was a factor in my former eds, so I don't do it. And I don't recommend it because I think for most people it may lead to weight loss but often culminates in an unhealthy relationship with food. There are better ways. First time I lost weight and got pretty damn shredded. 5M gym, 40-40-20. Protein carb fat ratio at about 2,400 calories. Strict clean eating and no alcohol or fun. Second time I lost weight and got shredded. Adderall and no effort fasting, wonderful muscle growth with a pretty shit diet and getting to the gym around 8 and 4 days a week. I recommend option 2, but I'm a lazy fuck with only a very slight regard for my health. Option 2 is a lot more fun. Being poor. I spent the first 20-something years of my life in poverty, and I was always thin. If poverty taught me anything, it's that I don't really need all that many calories to live. Consequently, I've never overeaten, and I've never been overweight. I admit this is the opposite of how so many other formerly poor people operate. I know many formerly poor people who are unable to stop eating if there is food in front of them, even if they're no longer hungry. I don't know how or why I developed a different response to food than they did, but I did. Interestingly, my sister's reaction to food insecurity poverty was different too. She now has a homestead with several acres of vegetable garden and fruit trees and egg-laying chickens. She said she vowed to never be hungry again, and for her, that meant being literally surrounded by food. My way of avoiding hunger as an adult was to have a good career and save invest money so I'll never be poor again. Diet is the only way. I actually gained weight while running 30, 40 miles per week training for marathons. It makes you very hungry, and also you grant yourself more permission for cupcakes. 35 or female. In the off-season, I tracked calories in an app and didn't exercise much and lost 15 lbs. In a couple months, I was strict about avoiding sweets and beer. Yes, those are two of the greatest things on earth, but so are tiny clothes that look good. Had bypass surgery in August 22. Have lost 73 lbs so far. Have 29 more to go to get to my goal weight. Tried for 30 years to lose weight, but ultimately admitted I can't properly self-regulate and needed the help. I started by cutting my meals in half. Not changing diet just yet. Still eating the same unhealthy stuff, but just not as much of it. So if I'm eating a burger and fries, then half the burger and half the fries are being saved for later. The weight melted off of me like magic. I couldn't believe it. Went back to the weight that I was when I was in elementary school. Thought I was in some sort of dream. But I reached a point where the pesky belly fat wouldn't completely go away. And also, I was always hungry. But you get better, especially knowing that your next meal is already there and you're going to eat it in another couple hours anyway. So I started getting into nutrition. Realized that calorie for calorie, food is not equal. So where half the burger and fried was leaving me hungry sooner, healthier, whole foods, fruits and veggies, and proteins let me satiated and satisfied for longer. Eventually, I trained my body to get by eating a fistful amount of food in one sitting. Whole foods rich in nutrition keeping me nourished for longer. I eat again when I'm hungry. Not when it's socially acceptable to eat, but when I'm hungry. If it's tween and I'm hungry, I'm eating. What I've learned, carbs aren't the enemy they've been made out to be. Natural sugars aren't bad, but didn't drink them. That means never touch another soda for the rest of your life. This stuff kills you very slowly. I stopped counting calories when I started doing portion control and never went back when dialing in my nutrition. Healthcare is done in the kitchen, not the hospital. Getting your heart broken will help you lose weight 100 and guaranteed. Got the diabetes. Forced me to rethink food choices. Went from 190 and now I'm at 145, 150. Get it? 145, 150 was my weight, not my blood close number. More stories on the channel. RedStore.